Good evening. The bail hearing for murder-accused Constable Noel Maitland is set to continue next Thursday as the judge adjourned until October 13 the ruling for the bail application. Constable Maitland has been remanded. The prosecution this morning outlined chilling details of the murder case against Constable Maitland in the Home Circuit Court. Emerging details involve a car wash, a truck driver, a series of CCTV cameras, and what has been described as a red or brown couch. The court, for the first time, heard details of the prosecution's case against the police constable. Earlier, the court heard that a toothbrush belonging to the 24-year-old social media influencer matched forensic evidence found in Maitland's apartment. The prosecution indicated that bloodstains were found on curtains and on a pair of sneakers inside Maitland's Chelsea Manor St. Andrew apartment. The court heard that Donaldson's mother, Sophia Lugg, who was in court, handed over the toothbrush to investigators. Forensic analysis was then conducted against bloodstains collected inside the apartment. Maitland has been in custody since his arrest on July 27 in relation to the disappearance of 24-year-old Donaldson, who was last seen at his New Kingston apartment on July 11. She was reported missing on July 13. The police had indicated that investigations concluded that Donaldson was killed on July 12 between 4 and 8 p.m. They stated that this was supported by forensic evidence and technology, but noted that a motive has not yet been established for the killing. The prosecution outlined that even though the case is purely circumstantial evidence, they believe Donnelly is dead. Constable Maitland was this morning slapped with an additional charge of preventing the lawful burial of a corpse. Miss Donaldson's mother, who was present in court, broke down in tears at the disclosure of the new charge. Lawyer of the accused, Christopher Townsend, denied all the allegations. We will bring you more on this developing story in subsequent newscasts. In other news tonight, the 17-year-old Kingston Technical High School KTHS student who was involved in the fatal stabbing of her schoolmate last Thursday afternoon is now facing a murder charge. Police sources said the teen was charged late yesterday after a long question and answer session. The fatal stabbing of Michionne Campbell during a fight between both students on the school's compound left students and teachers traumatized. A team from the Ministry of Education, including Portfolio Minister Favour Williams, has since visited the school to offer support to the students and staff. Still tonight, Jamaicans are again being encouraged to resort to non-violent methods of conflict resolution. Minister of Education and Youth Favour Williams, during an address to the ministry's semi-virtual National Grooming Policy Students Consultation session held at the Wilmers Boys School in Kingston on the weekend, emphasized that this is imperative to preventing disputes from escalating to fatal outcomes. She also extended condolences to the family of slain Kingston Technical High School student Michionne Campbell.
I must express my deepest condolences to the family of the Kingston Tech High School grade 11 student, Michionne Campbell, who was stabbed yesterday in a dispute at school. Students, this is a tragedy on so many levels. A young life lost in a moment of anger, and another life blighted by what is reported to be a senseless act of violence. We must learn to resolve our disputes without resorting to violence. And we are happy to know that the Ministry of Education and Youth has partnered with the Ministry of Justice to bring to our schools restorative justice practices to help our students to navigate a conflict-laden society. It's not that we are ever going to do away with conflicts, but what we want to learn is how we manage conflicts, how we de-escalate conflicts, how we get out of conflicts, how we not become a part of escalating conflict to a point where you have violence and death.
Mrs. Williams said despite the fact that there will always be situations of conflict, the goal is to learn to manage and de-escalate conflict. She also offered condolences to the family of Wilmer's Boys School student Raheem Shaw, who was shot by his father on September 28 after being mistaken for an intruder.
It's not that we are ever going to do away with conflicts, but what we want to learn is how we manage conflicts, how we de-escalate conflicts, how we get out of conflicts, how we not become a part of escalating conflict to a point where you have violence and death. We also offer condolences to the Wilmer's family for the tragic death of young Raheem Shaw. Our prayers are with their immediate families and their respective extended school families.
The minister noted that the session was hosted to help students and other stakeholders get a better understanding of the context and rationale for the guidelines developed and get their perspectives.
This is a continuation in a series that will involve members of the public, principals, parents, and students from different parts of the island as we seek to develop consensus on this very controversial topic of dress and grooming in our schools. We also have another draft policy in which we are also doing consultation, and that is the nutrition in schools policy, and there are others to come. And this will be the same method that we will use. The ministry will develop the draft policy. Next step is consultation with all the stakeholders to hear your views, and I'm sure many of those views will be incorporated into the final policy. We see schools as a microcosm of our society, and as such, they provide the foundation for socialization and preparation for students to enter the wider world of work and civic engagement. Dress and grooming form a critical part of their development and are closely linked to character development. Within this context, the Ministry of Education and Youth is committed to the holistic development of our students, in which the cognitive, spiritual, socio-emotional needs are nurtured. Even as we do so, we seek to ensure that all students have equal access to education, that a proper learning environment is maintained, and that the discipline to secure this is assured.
Meanwhile, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie, in sending condolences to the family and school community of slain Kingston Technical High School student Mission Campbell, pointed out that it's not the time to criticize the ministers and ask for the reshuffling of the commissioner, but a time to work together to solve the issue of crime and violence in our society.
And today I want Era Council 1 to join in sending our condolences to the family and the school community of Kingston Tech. I just see the Member of Parliament coming in. That we mourn this great loss. Every life that is taken is a life that is gone too soon. And this is not the time. This is not the time to to talk about moving minister, moving commissioner, moving education minister. This is not the time for that. This is the time for us to build on the foundation and to work to change what is happening in the country. And if anybody believes that the Jamaican people are idiots, that they can be critical and offer no solution, they are bankrupt of ideas, labor rights. They have nothing to offer to the country more than the same dege something that they've been saying. Nothing new.
He also appealed to party supporters attending a meeting of the Jamaica Labour Party's JLP's Area Council 1, which he chaired at the Jacks Road Community Centre in St. Andrews Southeastern, to ensure they do their part in ensuring that they will not support any acts of violence in their communities.
And I want to appeal to all of you here today to make sure that we don't, in our communities, support any act of violence. No cover up for no gun boy. No support any measures that is not in keeping in building a decent society. And crime, labor rights, is a major, major problem in this country. And we can only tackle crime if we unite our efforts in this fight against this cancer that is eating away at the heart of the Jamaican society.
He also reiterated that government reallocated money from garbage collection to focus on the COVID-19 fight. A pileup of garbage has plagued several communities across the island for months. But Mr. McKenzie yesterday announced that in a matter of weeks, 50 trucks will arrive on the island to help alleviate the problem.
There is no denying that there has been a breakdown in garbage collection. And as the minister with responsibility for that portfolio matter, I can never come here this morning and say to you that I am happy. We're not happy. But I want you to remember, it was at our party's conference at the National Arena when the Prime Minister announced the purchase of 100 new garbage trucks to come in to the National Solid Waste Management Authority. And I want to tell you something, because people are criticizing us, and they have a right to criticize us. But if the other people who were there, if they had made any investment in solid waste, when I became the minister in 2016, the National Solid Waste Management Authority never had 10 working garbage trucks in the fleet.
Minister McKenzie said that the 50 new garbage trucks are now en route to Jamaica, with another 50 trucks scheduled to be shipped shortly.
So COVID came, and we had to take a decision whether to support the health sector. And we decided to postpone the purchase of the trucks in order to keep Jamaicans in a healthy position. I'm pleased to announce to Area Council, I was sent last night a video of the 50 new garbage trucks being driven on to the ship to be shipped to Jamaica over the next couple of weeks. And when you hear them talk, you ask them, what is it that they have done to improve solid waste? This 50 trucks that we are bringing in is the first in the history of the National Solid Waste Management Authority that level of investment has ever been made.
Better days are coming by and by.
And we're not just talking about the 50 coming. We have started the arrangements to bring the additional 50 to fulfill our commitment of 100 garbage trucks.
We go now to news from St. James, where the parish surpassed the 150 murder mark yesterday with the fatal shooting of 2 men in separate incidents in the Montego Bay and Long Bay communities. The victims have been identified as 30-year-old Tyler Robert Young, otherwise called Andre, of Bogue Hill, and 63-year-old Duke Palmer, otherwise called Touch of Gold, of Long Bay, both communities in St. James. Reports from the Freeport Police coming into our news center are that at about 12:50 p.m., Young went to a garage along River Bay Road in Montego Bay, where he was fatally shot by a lone gunman. Prior to his death, Palmer was sitting along a section of the Long Bay Main Road at about 9 a.m. when persons traveling on board a motor car drove up to him and opened fire, hitting him multiple times. Both Young and Palmer were transported to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. Over 153 persons have been murdered across the parish of St. James since the start of the year, making it the most murderous parish in the Area 1 Policing Division. The St. James Police have also increased patrols within several communities to put a lid on the increase in murders. Continuing with the news tonight, the National Water Commission's NWC's upgrading of the Spanish Town Road distribution line in Kingston will result in increased and reliable water supply for the benefit of residents and businesses. 20 kilometers of pipes have been installed along one of the most heavily trafficked corridors from 6 miles to Blake Road near the intersection with South Camp Road. The Spanish Town Road potable water supply transmission main project is the largest single pipeline replacement activity undertaken locally at the tune of $2.4 billion since the Rio Cobre transmission main was replaced 10 years ago. Construction, which commenced in November of 2020, was completed in July of this year. Prime Minister Andrew Holness toured a section of the project area in the vicinity of the Mother White Bridge on Spanish Town Road on the weekend. Prime Minister Holness, who toured a section of the Mandela Highway that will be part of the area that will see an improvement in the new water mains along the roadway, says government is upgrading nation-building infrastructure for the benefit of the people.
Of Western St. Andrew and West Kingston. The government then decided that we needed to make massive investments in new infrastructure. Infrastructure which we call nation-building infrastructure. Those mains that were laid decades ago. In fact, some of those mains would have been laid almost 50 years ago. They would have reached their useful life and would now be at their end of what we would call using the right. Is it useful life? Yes. So they are no longer reliable. The government decided to undertake a $2.4 billion investment in putting in new mains, and that included putting in new mains along the Mandela Highway and a new main running all the way along Spanish Town Road. And what we're seeing now is the completion of that, and that has the capability to bring in approximately 15 million gallons of water into Kingston and St. Andrew. And that should significantly improve water supply and reliability.
He also explained that this kind of investment is set to last for at least 50 years.
Kind of investment that we call a nation building investment. It will last us 50 years or more because of the type of pipe that we are using and the technology involved. You would also know that we're not running the main on one side of the road. So the major main is on one side, but we have distribution mains on either side of the road. And that would ensure that there is less digging for connections when the NWC has to make its lateral connections.
Prime Minister Holness added that there will be additional work done along the Spanish Town Road corridor, and this is the start of many more works to be done.
That the NWC was so efficient in the implementation of this project that it came in under budget.
This bridge needs repairing though, Prime Minister.
Again, the infrastructure is an important focus of the government. So it's not just the bridge. We're going to be doing an entire improvement along the Spanish Town Road corridor. But the first thing to do is to put in the main, and then we can deal with the road surface. So the water mains are in. I'm not certain if the president is here. Did we make any provision for sewer?
Sewer is already here.
Sewer is already here, and provisions would be made for fiber optics. So the next step would be to improve this road corridor.
And those are the stories making news. I am Shelley Hill. Do stay safe, pleasant viewing, and thanks for watching.